During the statewide COVID-19 closures, many Attain resources have temporarily been made available to you to access remotely from home. Visit the Attain website to access GMetrix and other software programs. www.alb.sunyattain.org. From the Attain homepage, scroll down slightly until you see the 3 red buttons at the left. Choose Learning Resources. You'll then be brought to this page, which has resources that you can access remotely from home. Scroll down slightly and click on GMetrix Practice Testing. You'll be brought to the GMetrix login screen. Enter your username and password that was provided to you by a lab manager. If you've forgotten your username or password or need to have one issued, please reach out and contact a lab manager and we'll be happy to assist you. Once you log into GMetrix, you'll be brought to your dashboard. Let's talk about the interface for a moment. Notice your name is in the top right-hand corner. On the left, there's a command bar where you can start a new test, view your dashboard, or review past tests that you've completed. On the lower half of the screen, you can also review recent activities or review study guides that are provided to you by GMetrix to help you prepare. Let's start a new test. When you start a new test, you'll be asked what type of test you'd like to take. You may have Office 2016, Microsoft Technology Associate, QuickBooks Certified User, or all 3, depending on your interests. Here in Microsoft Office 2016, you can see that there are several types of tests we can take. There is a Word test, a Word Expert test, Excel and Excel Expert tests, PowerPoint, Access, and Outlook. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to choose Word. You'll note that there's several types of tests here that you can take. There are 3 core practice exams, 3 core skill review exams, 2 project review exams, and 4 selected response tests. The 3 exams at the top of the screen, the core practice exams that feature the white GMetrix logo, are the tests that look like the actual exam. The other types of tests, the core skill reviews, project reviews, and selected responses, cover valuable material that could potentially be on the actual exam, but the interface does not look like the actual exam. Each style of exam is very different. This video will cover in detail how to take each type of exam. If you'd like to jump ahead to view a demonstration of a specific type of exam, fast forward your video to the desired time location shown on the screen. I'm going to launch the core practice exam number 1. Notice how it has the white GMetrix logo on it, so we know that that is a test that resembles the actual certification exam interface. When you hover your mouse over the exam you want to start, notice you have 2 ways to launch the exam, in training mode or testing mode. The exam itself is the same whether you launch it in training mode or testing mode. The interface is the difference. In training mode, the practice test is not timed. You have as much time as you need to complete the test. In training mode, there is a help feature available to you in case you encounter a question you're not sure how to answer. Training mode is best used for getting the feel of the interface. It's also used for identifying software skills that require your extra practice. Conversely, testing mode is designed to more closely resemble the actual certification exam. The practice test will be timed. There will be an on-screen timer counting down from 50 minutes. The help feature will not be available. Testing mode is used when you are ready to attempt to achieve your high scores to submit to a lab manager. Lab managers use only your testing mode scores to determine your readiness for the actual certification exam. Here are a few notes of caution before you begin practice testing. First, be aware that you will be provided with a limited number of practice exams. Exam launches in both training mode and testing mode are deducted from that count, but only the testing mode attempts are considered by lab managers when assessing your readiness. A practice test should be attempted in training mode to determine what skill areas you may need to study further in order to master. Next, you should study to strengthen those areas. After studying, the test can be repeated in testing mode to attempt to earn a high score. Repeating the test multiple times will lead to you memorizing the test rather than learning the skill. Returning back to our dashboard, I'm going to launch the exam in training mode. The software is prompting me that I have a test started already that I've done in the past. I can choose to resume and finish that test or start over with a brand new test. For this demonstration, I'm going to start a new test. The very first time you attempt to use GMetrix, you'll need to download the software onto your computer. Press the green Download GMetrix SMS button, and then choose your operating system. This will install the GMetrix practice testing software on your computer. This is a one-time procedure that you only need to do the first time that you access GMetrix. If you have technical difficulty making this happen, please reach out and contact a lab manager. The most common reason for a test to fail to launch is that the desktop version of the software is open on your screen. You cannot have Microsoft Office software programs open at the same time you are taking a practice exam. Each time you plan to take a practice test, remember to close all Microsoft Office software before attempting to launch the GMetrix practice exams. When you launch a test, the software is going to ask you to click on Open GMetrix. That will load up your test. The exam interface consists of two windows. The upper window has the application you're being tested in, Microsoft Word. The lower window is the exam interface. Let's review how the interface works. Notice there is a timer. Because I'm in training mode, the timer is counting up, measuring the time I spend in this test. This test consists of 7 projects. This is project number 1 of 7. There are several buttons at the bottom of the screen that you'll use to navigate through the test. When the project first loads, you should click on the Overview button. That will give you 1 or 2 sentences describing the document at the top of the screen. You do not need to read the document to succeed at the test. In fact, you should not read the document. As a reminder, testing mode practice exams and the actual certification exam are timed tests. You do not have time to read the document and complete all the tasks you'll be asked to do. After understanding what the document is all about by using the Overview button, you are ready to proceed through the tasks. Remember, this is a practical exam. Each task is going to ask you to do something to the document above. I'll demonstrate here with task number 2. Task number 2 asks us to create a hyperlink out of the header Bicycle Advantages on page 1 and link it to a web page. We'll select the text and create the hyperlink. Use caution when you're typing out the web address or any other text in your test. Typographical errors will be marked incorrect. Also, the test is very specific about capitalization. Double check your work. After you answer a question, mark it as complete. A little check mark will appear in the task. If you're unsure on a question, you can mark it for review. That will mark it with a caution symbol. You can come back and check it later if you have time. When you're done with the task, click on the next task and continue. When you are done with all of the tasks, click Grade Project. The software will tell you what questions you got right and which questions you got wrong, and you can retry them. The ability to retry questions is only available when practice testing in training mode. Remember, testing mode is to give you the actual exam experience. If you don't know how to answer a question, take advantage of the help option here in training mode. That's the little blue light bulb. The question for task 3 says insert a continuous section break on page 2, just before the heading Affordable Pricing. If I didn't know how to insert a continuous section break, I could use the help light bulb. When I turn it on, the software will tell me directions on how to do it. Step 1, on page 2, place your cursor to the left of the heading Affordable Pricing. Step 2, click the Layout tab. Step 3, in the page Setup group, click on Breaks. Step 4, choose a section break continuous. As a reminder, the Help button is a feature that is only available in training mode. That button does not exist in testing mode or on the actual exam. When you've completed all 5 tasks, go ahead and grade the project a second time. All correct. When you're ready to continue to project number 2, press Continue. The next project will load automatically, and the next set of tasks will be ready for you to complete. You can see the next project, project number 2 of 7, is about networking and has 5 tasks associated with it. Generally speaking, the Microsoft exams consist of 4 to 7 projects with 4 to 7 tasks per project. Continue in the same manner for project 2. Complete each task and mark it complete when you are done. If there's a task you don't know, ask for help. When you are done marking all 5 tasks, grade the project. I got one wrong here, so I'm going to retry. It said I had a problem with task number 5. Returning and checking out task number 5, I know that I chose the right image and put it in the right space to the left of the first paragraph. The question asked me to apply tight text wrapping. I'll check my text wrapping now. Whoops, I accidentally chose square. When you correct the problem, regrade your exam. You can see it's now correct. If you don't have time to finish your test while in training mode, feel free to hit Save Project. This will save your test and you can continue it later. Test is going to ask you if you're sure you want to save and exit. Say OK. Then save your test in the cloud so you can restart the exam no matter where you are. The software will let you know when your files were successfully saved and when it's safe to log out. I returned to GMetrix and resumed my practice test. I completed all of the projects, and now I'm ready to grade the whole test. Here on Project 7, I'll click Grade Project and review my answers. Then I'll click Continue. Wait for just a moment or two while the test calculates your score, and a test summary will then show on the screen. Your test summary is your last chance to review your test before you finish it. Notice the green checks indicate that I have done each of the 7 projects and submitted it for grading. I can open any of the 7 projects to expand the tasks and make sure I didn't have any marked for review that I wanted to go back and take a second look at. The test summary is a feature that you would see in training mode, testing mode, and on the actual examination. It's your chance to look for questions you've marked for review or projects that you may have skipped over accidentally. For example, in the bicycles question, I marked task number 2 for review. If I have time left on my timer, I can press Go to return to the question and attempt to answer it. Once I've answered the question or decide to skip it, I can regrade the project and will eventually get back to the test summary once again. The test summary is actually accessible on the screen at all times during the test. If you were in Project 4 and suddenly remembered how to do a task in Project 2, you can use the Summary button to navigate back to Project 2. Click Finish Test when you are absolutely sure that you are done with the test and say yes. You are sure you want to complete the practice test. The screen may flicker for just a few moments while the test performs the final grading. Click OK when it's finished grading to view your score report. Our Attain Lab managers can view your score report in our administrator portal. We can see exactly what you see on the screen: the test you took, the mode that you took the test in, the date, how long it took you to complete the test, and what your final score was. Further down, you can see the tasks and which ones you got right or wrong. These will have a red X if you got them incorrect. It's a little unclear though, because you'd have to remember what the task was. It's more productive to look at the objective list. In the objective list, you'll notice lower percentage amounts here for any question you got wrong. For example, if you got a question wrong about paragraph spacing, here in the paragraph section, you would see a lower score. These arrows can be clicked on to see specific skills that you need to know how to do. The purpose of the score report is to look for areas where you got questions wrong and go and study that content to strengthen your skills. Once you've studied paragraph spacing, for example, you can return and reattempt this test again. Remember, don't take the test too many times or you'll memorize the content. Take it once or twice in training mode and then attempt in testing mode for your high score. Let's imagine for a moment that we've gone and studied areas of weakness where we got questions wrong in our training mode attempt. And now we're feeling more confident about taking this test. I'm going to show you now what the same test will look like in testing mode. Core Practice Exam 1 in testing mode. Notice Project 1 is still the same Project 1 it was before, the bicycle barn advertisement. It's still project number 1 of 7, but the timer has now started at 50 minutes and is counting down. If you cannot complete all 7 projects in the 50 minutes, your test will stop at 0 and grade you based on how far along you did make it through the test. The operations are the same. You'll click on the overview to read a description of the bicycle barn. You'll do task 1, 2. Notice task 2 is hyperlinking the bicycle advantages. 3, 4, and 5. And then you'll grade the project. Notice the help button is missing. There is no help available when you take a test in testing mode. Imagine I had completed all of the tasks. When I click Grade Project, you'll notice it does not tell me which ones I got right or wrong. It takes me straight to project number 2, the networking questions. The actual certification exam works in the same way. When you submit a project for grading, you do not get your results on the screen, and you do not get a chance at that point to retry. I'd like to point out one final button that I haven't mentioned yet, the Restart Project button. This button is available in training mode, in testing mode, and on the actual certification exam. Use this button with caution. Restarting the project will reload the document from the beginning. For example, Bicycle Barn, you attempted task 1, 2, and 3 and then pressed restart the project. The Bicycle Barn document will reload fresh as if you had just started it, and the progress you made on tasks 1, 2, and 3 is erased. You will need to reattempt those tasks. The Restart Project button does not restart your timer. Keep that in mind. If you make a small mistake along the way, you could use your undo button or correct it. If you've made a major mistake that has affected your whole document, that is the time that you would want to choose to use Restart Project. Restarting the project only affects the current project that you're working on. If you restart Project 4, Projects 1, 2, and 3 that you've submitted for grading are safe. Only Project 4 would be restarted. Returning to our GMetrix dashboard, let's take a look at some of the other formats of tests that you could see. I'll launch Core Skill Review 1 and start a new test. The first thing you're likely to notice is that the interface is completely different in the Core Skill Review questions. Notice in the bottom left corner that there are 58 questions in this test. Core Skill Review practice exams feature essential skills that should be mastered if you want to earn certification. Although they do not look like the actual certification exam, they have great value in identifying areas you need to study before attempting the real test. The task you're being asked to do is located here in the white box. Notice the timer is located in the blue bar at the bottom of the screen. Your help button is still available to you in training mode, however, it now looks like a light bulb to the right of the screen. When you are ready to move on to the next question, you'll press the Next button. The interesting thing about Core Skill Review tests is that a different document is loaded for each question. If you need to stop the exam to return to continue it at a later time, you'll press the little blue disk icon in the bottom right corner. If you're having difficulty with a question that you'd like to mark to return to later, use the pushpin icon. If you've made a significant mistake and would like to reset the question, use the Reset button. That will reset only the question shown on the screen. Between the light bulb and the Save disk is the icon to get to your exam summary. It's a list of all the questions in the test and their status, whether you've marked them for review or attempted them. Next, I'd like to show you how one of the selected response tests work. I've opened selected response test number 1 in training mode. Once again, you'll notice that the interface is completely different than the other two styles of exams. Selected response tests are multiple choice. You navigate through the questions with the Next and Previous buttons at the top of the screen. You can see this particular test has 35 questions. Which tab is used to create a blank Word 2016 document? Choose the answer that best fits. While in training mode in this test, as soon as you press the Next button, you are instantly told if your answer was correct or incorrect. Notice I chose an incorrect answer. The correct answer is the File tab, as indicated by the green check mark. At the bottom of the screen is the explanation. The File tab is used to create a blank Word 2016 document. Once you've reviewed your answer, you can then choose Next to continue to the next question. Which are types of templates used in Word 2016? This question is asking us to choose 2 answers. Be sure to read the questions carefully so you select the correct number of answers to get full credit. The other commands on the interface that you'll see include your exam summary, which will show you which questions you've answered or marked for review, the Save button, in case you need to save this test and come back to finish it later, the Help button, which will tell you that Event and Business are types of templates used in Word, and mark for review if this is a question you'd like to come back and look at later. If you choose to mark a question for review, be sure to hit the skip button. If you choose next, it will tell you you've answered the question incorrect. I've closed that test and I've reopened it in testing mode. Notice the only difference in the appearance of the interface is the timer. It's counting down from 50 minutes. Notice how answering a question operates differently in testing mode. Which 3 buttons are found on the Quick Access toolbar by default? Notice when you answer a question, it does not give you feedback whether you've answered it correctly or incorrectly when in testing mode. The project review tests, again, look completely different than the other interfaces. I've opened Project Review 1 in training mode for this demonstration. Notice that in this version of the test, the interface is located on the left side of the screen. To complete the test, you'll work through the tasks from top to bottom down the list. The first question has to do with the theme, and it is highlighted in gray. The instructions are located at the top of the panel. Apply a theme to the document, to the entire document, and choose Ion. Once you complete the task, you'll check the box. The next question has to do with the background color. Click on the name of the task, then complete the task as instructed at the top of the panel. The interface is made of 2 frames, an upper and a lower frame with separate scroll bars. The lower frame controls the list of tasks. The upper frame gives the task directions. For example, on the breaks question, it's quite a long set of instructions. You may need to scroll down to see everything you need to see. If you don't know how to perform a task, use the question mark. That's your help button. And as you scroll down, you'll see the directions have appeared right underneath each step of the tasks. The first 4 questions on this particular test have to do with the whole document or different parts of the document. Once you complete the first 4 activities, click on page 1 to review the next set of tasks. Those tasks are focused specifically on page 1. Once you complete those 5 tasks, you can click on page 2 to see the tasks associated with that page. The project review test provides 1 document for you to perform all of the tasks on. The test questions must be answered in order. You must spend time on questions to make sure you're answering them correctly. If you're struggling on a question you don't know the answer to, give yourself some time to try to figure it out, because a mistake on an early question can cause a tumble-down effect and can cause problems with future questions. In the test I'm showing on the screen, for example, question number 4 deals with breaks. If your page breaks and section breaks are inserted incorrectly for this question, several future questions are affected, including questions about page orientation and margin settings. You'll also have difficulty finding the text to use for future tasks because the text could move onto the wrong page. Be very careful and double-check your work for each and every task. A few notes about this interface. Notice the 3 bars here next to the word Grade Project. If you click on the 3 bars, you can save it to return to at a later time. Your test timer is located here in the bottom left-hand corner. In training mode, the timer counts upward. You have as much time as you need. In testing mode, the timer will start at 50 minutes and count down. When you've completed all of the tasks, click Grade Project to score your test. If you had launched this test in training mode, you'll be presented with a preliminary score report which will show you which questions you performed correctly and which were incorrect. You're given a chance to retry if you'd like. To complete the test and finalize scoring, press Continue. If you had launched this test in testing mode, when you press Grade Project, you'll be taken directly to your final score report. Let's review and compare the different types of practice tests available to prepare for Microsoft Office Specialist exams. The core practice exam is the only style of practice exam that resembles the actual certification exam. In the Attain Lab, we would like to see any participant who is seeking certification to attempt all core practice exams for the software they are interested in. All tests can be taken in either training or testing mode. As a reminder, in training mode, you have as much time as you need, and there's a help option available to you. In testing mode, there will be a timer counting down from 50 minutes and no help option available. The core practice exam, core skill review, and project review are practical exams that are going to ask you to perform tasks. As a reminder, the selected response test is a multiple choice exam. As the actual certification exam is also a practical exam, lab managers do not consider selected response test results as a measure of readiness. All four styles of practice exams will help you identify skills that you need to study in order to prepare for the actual certification exam. Reach out and notify our lab managers when you achieve your high scores. Our lab managers are able to monitor your progress from our administrator portal. To be considered ready to take the actual certification exam, you'll need to score 850 or higher on at least 2 different practice exams for a software program. High scores must be achieved in testing mode. Our lab managers do not consider selective response practice exams. As a reminder, those are the multiple choice exams. As a point of information, the passing score on the actual certification exam is 700 or higher. SUNY is asking for you to achieve 850 or higher as a measure to ensure your success. Are you having trouble using GMetrix? If this video didn't answer your question, please reach out and contact a lab manager. We'd be happy to guide you to GMetrix technical support if necessary. We can also remind you of your username and password if you've forgotten it. We can also guide you to resources that will help you understand a difficult skill. To contact a lab manager, go to our website at www.alb.sunyattain.org and click on the Contact Us link at the top of the page. You'll be able to send an email message to our lab managers, and someone will get back to you as soon as possible. Visit the website shown here or call the numbers on the screen to learn more about the Capital District Educational Opportunity Center Attain Computer Labs.